When you invest with faith and wisdom, your harvest will come in due season.
It's not what you do and the money you have, but what you do with that money.
I'm happy that I am doing what I should be doing at my age.
I joined it. I'm saving. Thank you so much.
Keep planting, keep trusting, because that is the will of God.
Welcome, Madam Leah Muchemi.
Wow, God is good. Wow, hey, again, come on energy. It's a beautiful morning, isn't it? Yes, and you can imagine ladies being together. I really want to appreciate this church, Pastor Asante Sana, for always thinking about ladies. We think about other people, and there is never a moment we take to think about ourselves. So this is a very, very honorable thing. So thank you, Pastor, and through the invite, I am very, very grateful. So greet your neighbor and tell them, I'm happy that I'm a lady. Some years back, when I started graduating in life and understanding what financial empowerment is, I said you can never be empowered even alone in a family. It is good if God shows you the way, you also show others the way. Tell your neighbor, keep the right mindset. Yes, that is what makes life. Keep the right mindset. Hakuna ya wamama kujihurumia. Tuko pamoja? Hakuna kujihurumia. Hakuna kukosa mwehoko. Mwehoko inaitwa nini yani? Hakuna kukosa hope. Ni kukaa tukitarajia Mungu. All the talents we are given, all the skills, who we are, everything about us belongs to God. And that is why what you are given, you share. You share. Investing with a purpose for financial freedom. And I want to say thank you for one thing. Your theme is living with a purpose. Living with a purpose. And investing is part of life, isn't it? Everything we are doing is part of life. We all get income. And once we get income, we use it on the many things I've said. Income, rent, food, school impasse, transport and entertainment. I came because of some other money in your hands disappears. And you have no idea where it goes. Kuna mtu anapatanga ati umepata 20K na you can account for all of it. Kuna tuingine huelewi. Kama ulitoka na dhao leo nyumbani, ukirudi utakuta labda iko so ama imeisha na huwezi jua imeenda wapi. So this no idea is the one that made me come so that we can put it up together. We don't have to look for money outside where we are. It's still the same money we have, but we can consider investments that will be able to take care of that money that we don't know where it goes. Why does money go where it goes? Because if you don't give money a name, it will give itself. I have translated from my Greek. Ogiaga kohebeshale toa. It will give itself. Money must be baptized. You eat a house girl, you eat a rent, you eat an investment, you eat a saving, you eat a school fees. The one that you don't name is the one that now goes to your habits. Ina create impasse, ina create ukifika unakuta pale barabara ulala, unashukua. Ukifikia kwa nyumba, haikutoshi. Na niwe ulishuku, na sisi tuko hivyo. Sasa leo tuko na fair. I know you planned for it. Please be remembering that if you don't have a plan, any place will be a destination. True or not true? Equally with money, if you have no plan, any place is a destination. And so what is financial freedom that we are looking for? Financial freedom means having enough income, enough savings, and investments to support your desired lifestyle without being constantly stressed about money. When you look at financial freedom, haiko na watu wengi sana, but kuna watu manage, because it's not the amount of money you have. Remember, we all have different lifestyles. So lazima ujue, my financial freedom is not your financial freedom. And that is why we normally say you need to define your life from where you are coming from. But once you find you are constantly stressed on money, then you are not financially free. You need to put some bit of things together so that you can have that freedom. So financial freedom, the biblical way, is not just about having money, it's about being free to serve God. So we normally say financial freedom is not just about having money. In the kingdom of God, it's just being free to serve God and others without being hindered by debt, by fear, or financial pressure. That is why it is important in the kingdom. That kuna mahali kunaenda kuonwa wa mama, ama kuna mahali kuna watoto yatima wanaenda kuonwa, hutasikia iyo kufinyika, because God is able to give you something that you are able to give out. Remember, as I said, the borrower is a servant to the lender, but blessed to be a blessing. In the kingdom, when you are blessed, you become a blessing. And here I want to remind you the Samaritan, you remember he said, alishukua ule mtu, akampeleka in, akasema something he said very profoundly. You will bill me when he gets well. And if you can go to a hospital, nimeona kuna hospitali iko hapa, uambie nimeacha hii mgonjwa, and please bring my bill when he is well, can just anybody be told go? It means he was aware of the man. That is why he said, you will bill me and take care of him. I will foot all the bills. Meaning, even in the kingdom, we need to be financially empowered so that we will be able to serve God well. And as we have been told, God desires us to be wise stewards and not slaves to money. Ukipewa pesa ikuwe inakutawala, then you have lost it. Money is supposed to be given. Actually, we are pipelines. We are a pipe. Inapitia kwa mkono wako, ikienda kwa mkono where it's supposed to be a blessing. Now, in the biblical foundations of financial stewardship, we are saying first what you need to do is to understand God's plan to resources. And if you understand God's plan, my sister already talked about it, the earth is the Lord's and everything in it. And all we have belongs to God. We are just stewards, not owners. Hata watoto wako kwa nyumba yako, sio wako. Ni wa Mungu. Anything you have belongs to God. Even the job you have is not yours. It belongs to God. Abia huyo mwingine, it's good to trust God. Because if you look at him, he is able to provide a way, even where there is no way. And if you want to know, he knows how to provide a way. When Abraham went to sacrifice Isaac, the Lord was able to find a lamb. Isaac asked, tunaenda kuchinja nini? Akamwambia Mungu atafanya nini? Ataprovide. Did he provide? Very well. When I am going through a hardship on money or anything, I normally remember the Lord is supposed to provide all my needs according to his riches in glory. Bwana asifiwe. And it looks crazy faith, and we will talk about it because you need it when you are thinking about finances, because it belongs to God. It's only that haiko kwa mikono yako, and they say you don't have because you have not asked. So kama unataka uliza. When I started doing a commissioned job, because it's not an easy job, my first commission was 2,875. Niliongeza 0.2. So nikaweka kwa bag. Siyo ni faith. So nikaanza kujiambianga, siku moja itakuwa 287,500. Na ikanifurahisha sana. But when it was 2875, if I looked at it and concentrated, what would have happened? You get depressed. You start thinking of going back to look for another job. You start crying. Now, instead of crying, when I added the zeros and there was no money in the account, I started feeling already like a wealthy person. Ebu start now feeling like a millionaire. But just imagine your bank account is more than 8 zeros. 8 zeros. See, that is sounding good. Even me, I would want 8 zeros. 8 zeros, my brother, is like 100 million. What would you do if today you got just 100 million in your account? Of course, those with it, they may not start imagine a billion. You know, once you have that, imagine a billion. Because there is always another level. So, usifike kwa ulimwengu sio kwa kufika. Ni mahali ya ukifika hatua hii, unatafuta hiyo igine. If you have enough for yourself, ask God, what is my other call? You can support a children's home. You can support the church. There are many things you can do. God's work haishangi. So I keep saying we should never be contented. So we are saying, what are these purpose-driven investments? It is honoring the Lord with your wealth. Invest in ways reflect your values, faith, and purpose. Ask, does this investment align with God's kingdom work? Hii inakuwaga swali tunaulizwa sana, mtu wako ndani ya kanisa na anataka juu sasa ile biashara imebaba ni gani? Haiko hapa kahawa shukari, kwetu siko wines and spirits. Siko every home yani you live a home, iko hapo. Igine iko hapo. It's good to ask. If it is not in line with your values and faith and purpose, then I believe the Lord can bless you where you will align and feel good. And I know there are people we go and then they are like, sasa nikuvuga nitavuga ama nitafanya nini? I always say, when you are living on purpose, ask God for direction. Bwana asifiwe. I've seen my friends who have opened hotels and beautiful places, and because their faith does not line with them to sell alcohol, they decide their place is becoming alcohol free because they know ile madhara imetuletea kwa inchi yetu. So you don't have to believe what others believe in. You can believe what you believe yourself. Even there is a center in Roiro. Inaitwaje hii tunaendaga kusoma? BTL. Isn't it a beautiful place? And doing great things. Who has been to Hell's Gate? No, Heaven's Gate. Heaven's Gate. Wachana na Hell's. Watu wa Heaven's Gate, Bwana asiwe. Hell's Gate tunayehova. Isn't that investment looking massive? Kwa hivyo hata Mungu ako na vitu yake amejiwekea that can build the kingdom. Pigieni huyo Mungu makofi. That when I went to Heaven's Gate my first time, I was wondering, am I in a sanctuary? Is this in Kenya? Where is this? And I found it very massive. I had to come for my sisters in Eden Wabia. Kujeni mukaone. Because when you have not seen, and when you are not being mentored, and when you have not traveled wide to see, you may look like the four lepers. Because bila kujua na kuona, huwezi jua kwenye unaenda. So it is good to go and see. And when you see, call others. They come in and see. Now, wealth as a tool for God's kingdom. Remember the Lord, it is He who gives wealth. And because this I had already sent to Mary, she can send you. But I want to say wealth should serve God's purposes. Let it give family support, kingdom impact, and community upliftment. Bwana asifiwe. Mungu hajamaliza vitu kwa store, akona setu. And remember, what you confess, you possess. Numbers 14:28, from my mouth to God's ears. Hakuna kitu haina masikio. So, usiogope. We were brought up when the gospel was telling us to be timid, to be meek. We need to be poor in spirit. I don't know, to be rich in heaven and all that things. Please, please don't listen to that doctrine. There are things you need to be poor at. Like you need to be poor of pride. You need to be poor of the wrong things. But njia za dhahabu kama zitakuwa biguni. There is a singer who said, unaweza fika biguni, uambiwe hii Mercedes ilikuwa yako. Na saa hiyo ulitembea kanyaga twende. Faith and wisdom in investing. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. Bwana asifiwe, isn't it? Na ndio hisi tunatabiria. Ndio tunatabiria biashara zetu. That as we are living with purpose, tumesirete katika sanctuary. And there is nothing as beautiful as being in the vineyard. And this is what we are saying, write your dreams. As you write them, don't leave your family behind. Be like Joshua, me and my house. So it doesn't matter when they will hear the voice. Write your dream in big tabs. And then remember, as you are doing business, you will have a moment for managing uncertainty. It is not, as I said, it's not always rosy. In Ecclesiastes 11:1-2 says, cast your bread upon the waters, and that means you diversify. Usikuwe we mtu ni wasako, mi ni wa brought maguta, and you are not diversifying. There is a problem that can come that needs money hapo. Kuna igine, that now as I go looking at the issues of investment, you will see it. So diversify your investments and pick the lessons we have learned. There are emergencies that may need immediate sorting from you. So as we now look at the investment, and here I'll go very fast, we normally say the practical investment vehicles we have, you can never do them unless you do the costing. You have to know, what is this I want to invest for? Number two, so you must know the objective. And then this will guide you on the time you have on the investment. So you can't just go to invest because another person went to invest. And so we are saying investments are divided into three: short term, medium term, and long term. And I've given there examples of short term, like the job loss. And I remember the other time I taught you that an emergency fund should be 6 times your monthly expenses. 6 times your monthly expenses. That is money you are supposed to, hata ukiwa hapa, ujue uko nayo. Kama huna, start building it. Otherwise, if you lose a job today, or your salary gets late, then everybody must know. They also have their issues. So kwenda ukiambia unajua sisi hatujalipwa, na labda hata wao walilipwa 6 months ago. We have gone to companies, mtu anakuambia sisi 4 months we are still waiting. So, of course, then waiting that long requires God's grace, but it's good to know these short-term things: holiday, urgent expenses, medical expenses, they come abruptly, chama contribution, you want to buy a phone, ama imeibiwa, na saa hiyo nitakwambia uje uinsure kwetu, loan repayment, small businesses, rent or house deposit, school fees repayment, term, tuition, sio cushion, and personal development and training. So we normally say when money is short term or investment is short term, avoid high risk, and then you also look at liquidity, safety, and stability. Hii pesa yote ya short term, tunabianga mutu, don't keep it idle, keep it in a money market fund where it's able to earn interest and you can access your money when you need it. The beauty about a money market fund, if you ask for money in the morning, you are able to get it before the day ends. So it is a safekeeping for your money. Currently, most money markets are operating at 12%. So ile pesa ulikuwa ulipe fees next year, keep it in a money market fund. Churches, circles have opened this fund such that if there is a project, they keep the money in the money market fund. And tukiendelea nitawaonyesha like how much return it gets practically. Now, medium term. Medium term are things between 1 year to 3 years. We said you start with the objective. So where do you utajua what is my objective? Is it buying land or a plot, car purchase or upgrading? Is it starting or expanding a business, a wedding or a major event, house renovation? All these things are things that need a little bit of time. Even a transition fund. You can start a transition fund, especially people with contracts, who work on contracts, so that if the contract does not get renewed, you don't get destabilized. You have some money for relocation. You are buying an equipment, or you are saving for children milestone. And for people of my age, we have started even saving for grandchildren. Because it's biblical. Leaving an inheritance to grandchildren. So kurwa na watoto na grandchildren wasemaga tulikuanga na social digital. You know, there are grandchildren in this country who are really celebrating. Whose parents did big things, and now they are just now going around. But we keep saying, even as you keep for children and grandchildren, train them in the ways of the Lord, because that is the great inheritance you can give a child. Tuko pamoja. You can imagine now huyo mtoto akiwa na Mungu ndani yake, then aongezwe pesa. They will be able to do exploits, isn't it? Because they will work in the vineyard. Now, long-term investments are investments above 5 years. These are things like the children higher education, building dream homes, wealth creation and legacy building, succession and estate planning. Before nitoke hapa kwa succession and estate planning, allow me to talk about what happens during succession. And I think, Pastor, it's also good, this team, to be trained about succession by a legal person, and could be you have been trained. Because succession is the most difficult thing I have seen. It takes time to access people's wealth, whether it is money in the bank account, whether it is a shaba, whether anything a person has. Apart from could be investment like an insurance policy, it can be inherited directly. Money in a trust fund can be managed from the trust fund, but anything else goes through the administration. It is tedious, it is hard, then anybody can come claim. Like we have seen funny cases, tuseme you have been sending your house girl money on M-Pesa. There is nowhere it is written, this is my house girl and this is a salary I am paying. When death happens, the house girl comes to the family and says, this is the lady who was supporting me. And they automatically become heirs of your estate. Angalia jirani yako mwambie, are you saying like a dormed person? Yes. And that is why you find nowadays, they are not here, but men in the world who keep whatever, I will not say what they keep. They can no longer use M-Pesa unless sasa hajielewi. Because your estate will be divided by all those people. So anybody you are helping, please have a write-up. Why am I paying this money? Kitu inaweza onekana. If not that, then you can open a trust fund. Trust fund allows you to put all your wealth, your title deeds, your money, and then the company that becomes your trustee, you tell them what you want. Niwaambie, hii plot ni ya mtoto yangu ule mdogo. Hii ingine ni ya ule mkubwa. Hii watakuwa wakishukua rent, munalipa fees until my grandchild, the firstborn, will be 18 years. The others now they can decide to do whatever they will do. By then now you have gone and stayed in heaven and they will have become more intelligent. Are we together? So you can read a lot about trust fund. There are two companies doing trust fund in Kenya. There is Britam and there is ICA. We can train you a lot on it, where you put everything. You find a school like Strathmore was born out of a trust fund. You find somebody who passed on, and they still educate some children who they were told to be educating. You find somebody like Cardinal Tuga, he left a trust fund. Immediately he passed on, they put up the Cardinal Tuga building. Are we together? Because you light. What do I want with my trust? And you appoint a trust. Don't appoint sisters and brothers. Because what happens if I appoint my sister as the trustee of my estate, then alipwe pesa, akue akona deni, alikuwa amenunua gari, analive lifestyle ya mtu empowered, alafu pesa igie. Atalipa gari ama atalipia mtoto yangu shule? Si atalipa gari ama deni ya Shylock. So you cannot appoint a person as your trustee, hata kama umemwamini namna gani. You have to know what you are doing with your finances. Let's open trust funds. They will help our children in future and ourselves. Now, for these things that are long-term, pension schemes are long-term. Right now, there is the NSSF that has been added for employers. We are helping employers to contract out, not to give all the money to Gava. Wanaleta igine Britam, we manage it. It has the advantages. Unit trust funds, the aggressive funds. Money market is part of unit trust, but we have other funds that are aggressive. So when you are thinking long-term, you think long-term is able to handle high risk, high return, meaning you can be able to do shares because it has the long-term. You can be able to do real estate. You can be able to do life or education policies. So it's good to know the finer details of what you have invested in. You can also invest in real estate investment trust and also, as I have said, the trust funds and endowments. That's a type of error. It will be collected. Now, we all don't invest the same because some people are young. Between 20 to 30, we normally say it's a time to start small, start early. There is power in compounding interest. But also focus on education, emergency savings, and low-risk products. And I've given an example there, SACCO, MMF, other unit trust. But we also have differentiated products for young people. Like where I work, we have a product called Nawili. Nawili you can open with as low as 1,000 Kenya shillings. And when you open, it gains interest from day one. It is money you can access, bora you create the discipline of remitting. Even when you want to withdraw, you can still withdraw from the phone. Nowadays, things have become digital. Even to open an MMF, there is something we call Bella. Unaigia WhatsApp, unaambia habari Bella, nataka kuinvest MMF. Na hapa unainvest MMF. Ukitaka kutoa habari Bella, nataka kutoa. But the warning I will give you is that with that kind of a way, you may never grow your money tree. Because when you always try to access what you have planted, then it will be stunted growth. Money needs to be to isikie joto ya pesa igine. The people who are midlife 40 to 50, I wish I was here many years when I was here. They need now to start thinking real estate, stocks, government boards, and the kind of things they are thinking about is saving for retirement. But we normally say they also need time to recover the lost time and rely on experience. You know, when you are here 20 to 40, you make a lot of mistakes. Unaambia na watu kuna brought mahali, unanunua unakuta haikuwa na title. Ukimaliza unaenda igine, unaambiwa kuna chama ya merry-go-round, sasa hiyo ndio tunaendaga desi, siku hizi najua inaitwa forex trading. Na hujui una trade counter gani, siku moja unaamuka counter imefuga. Please, don't invest where you cannot see what is happening. So even as you invest digital, it's good to know with which partner. Who is this? What are their credibility in the market? So that you don't just utubukie. You know how hard it is to make that 10,000. Then we lose. So this is what we are saying, the investment for young people, it may not be very visible, but there is benefit of age. The earlier you start, the better. We normally wish, and I know Pastor can attest, that if we did many things when we were young, and even my mother used to say, nigerudi miaka yako. So hata mimi sasa nawaambia niko sasa pande ya mama yangu, nigerudi miaka yenu. Because every generation sees deeper as you grow. There is some wealth that comes with age. And that is why you find, even if you usome namna gani, you can never go beyond the wisdom because of your parents. Kuna ka wisdom to God given. And that is why kusikiza hii wase wa kanisa, kusikia the pastor, kuna neno atasema na ikusaidie kwenda the next level even when you are investing. There is benefit of time in everything. So in money, we normally say the eighth wonder of the world is the wonder of compounding interest. Because money doubles in 5 years, we will triple in about 6 years. It comes to about 58 months. Then it will triple in about 12 years, and then the rest is history. So the more you keep, the more it compounds, then wajukuu wanaanza kuzaa, and that is why we said you must think long term for some things that are long term. And this is what I was talking about, the money market and the bond fund. That if you keep money, it's able to gain some value on a daily basis. Currently, the interest rates are about 13%. And this is where tunaweka pesa ya machama, ya nini. But now the beauty about the other funds which you can talk with a financial advisor is that they don't have taxation, but this has withholding tax. And that is now the things we say, when you're thinking about money, you can think about a consultant, somebody to work with you, or somebody to listen to your dream, then they are able to match it to what you are looking for. Now, when you get to the senior years, you prioritize income generating assets and capital preservation. Hutaki kitu yako ipotee. And that is why we said you think also about legacy. Before you retire, create another employer. Most people retire with 30% of their income, especially those in the government and elsewhere. So the 2/3 inakuwaga haiko. Na kama when you had 100% was not enough, ukienda na 30 ndio itakuwa enough. And then on top of this 30%, unaenda nayo nyumbani, medical is going high. You are now more idle, you need to travel a lot, so traveling goes high. And then every meeting kakiitwa uko kwa sababu everything, yani you are slightly available if you don't get to do something else. Even when you are in a chama, remember it's an investment. Why? You are gaining social capital, and you are also, if anything happens to you, mtu anaanzaga kuhesabu. Niko na harusi ya mtoto yangu, I had my daughter's wedding the other year, and then nilikuwa na hesabu chama fulani 20. Kanisa fulani 30. Grupu fulani bili, mpaka unauliza sasa kwa nini niliingia hii ya bili? Si saidio na wahitaji, but bado hata hiyo bili ikija inaingia mahali. So even in the chama, be a diligent person. You can try the government boards and treasury bills. Real estate requires capital and all that. Then tunasema something you should never forget about money. Na ukisahau zile zingine zote, hii usisahau. Giving, generosity and impact. So generously and live generously. Hata kama ni ile ya kuleta kwa kanisa tithe, usiwahi cheza na tithe. Tithe si yako, ni ya Mungu. Ubaya watu wakibarikiwa anaanza kukata tithe na hii yote. Hapa kwenu najua hamuna hiyo shida, watu wakibarikiwa analete yote. I believe you can put God to test. Wewe usijali, kuna watu wanatoaga tithe, anakuambia auntie nimetoa hata sina fare. Unampea fare ya 200, kesho anakurudishia na M-Pesa, anakuambia sikuwa naenda Mugudio unipe pesa yako. Me, I did what I was supposed to do. Ni fare tu sikuwa nayo na nimekurudishia. And we have seen our children now start growing believing the same thing. You know, there is no legacy without leaving it behind, isn't it? A generous person, you prosper. Generosity brings prosperity. Mtu akikuomba, even genuinely, unamuuliza maswali kama 10. Kwani wewe hivyo huko huwezi enda ukafanya kazi? Hai, do you know even kuomba si rahisi? Ukiona mtu anaomba, kuomba si rahisi. Hata mtu kusimama kwa street sio rahisi. So sometimes if you are not giving, just don't ask a question. Because you don't know their story. Wewe enda umejinyamazia because words have power. Wewe kama unasaidia, saidia. Kama husaidii, pita. These are lessons I've learned from several people, those I have been relating with financially. And one lesson I learned from one of the ladies in the middle of town who has about three houses in the CBD. She told me, and this I'm telling the ladies, that ukiweka kibeti yako, usiwahi toa pesa yote. At least uache 100, 200 na ukuwe na many money pockets. Usirifarife. You know the one tunaangaliaga. Nimeacha aliniambia usitoage yote because money has power of attraction. Pesa inaitaga igine. And I think this is what the Kikuyus used to say, shirigi mulekago negi. Shirigi humuliko na igine. You have to put a shilling to get another shilling. So that I learned, and I keep saying the small lessons I learned, I keep them well. And then the other one in Isaiah, plan and noble investments with lasting impact. As I conclude, write down your vision and make it plain. Set clear financial goals. You cannot just invest with a plan. Set clear financial goals. Then document your investment plans. And then act on your vision with faith and urgency. Success is not the absence of failure. At times you can start an investment, usikie hapa nimeteleza, you can make bad decisions, you can even be locked in debt. Success is not final, neither is failure. It is the beauty to persist that keeps on going. You can be able to multiply your investments. And so, what are the key takeaways? Purpose gives direction to wealth. Bwana asifiwe. Purpose gives direction to wealth. Stewardship is a spiritual responsibility. God has given you responsibility to take care of the money you have so that it multiplies. Dio amekuwekelea kwa mikono yako. You are one. If you have the children, you take care of them. The society, as we said, and everything else. And then we say, don't wait for things to be perfect. Start where you are with what you have. Hakuna mtu hana kitu. Start ali. Kama ni wewe na unafanya kazi ya nyumba, inakuaga na pesa. Hata hiyo itabirie. Because we have seen people not being defined by their past. And then the next one, let your money reflect your mission. Let your money reflect your mission. Ukibarikiwa also ni mzuri kukaa kama umebarikiwa. Wacha kukaa tu ile nguo ulikuja nayo Januari ndio uko nayo December. Wacha kukaa tu na lobby. Siku moja jipeleke Mombasa. Useme nimefika wapi? Mombasa. Angalia jirani muulize ndoto yako ni gani? So it is not the money or the job you are doing. It's what you do with what you have that counts. And also, do you have a plan? Do you have a dream? And my Bible says dreamers never die. That is why Joseph was put in a pit and he bounced back. You only bounce back if you have a purpose. And this is what we are saying, living with a purpose. With no purpose, you become hopeless. With no purpose, you forget where you are going. With no purpose, every place becomes a destination. And then, as they say, love of money is the root of all evil. It is the love of it. Please love your neighbor more than you love yourself. Pesa is a facilitator. It is not everything in life. But we are saying, even if it's the root of all evil, make it and be God-fearing. And I'm saying money with a God-fearing lady will do exploits. Wish your neighbor a lot of money. Mwambie Mungu akusidishie. Hata ikue mingi. Tukija hapa unakuwa ni where you are the problem solver and you are everything. And then when you make the money, invest with purpose, live with impact. Please tell your neighbor, invest with purpose and live with impact. Bwana asifiwe. When you invest with faith and wisdom, your harvest will come in due season. Keep planting, keep trusting, because that is the will of God. And I say thank you. May God bless you. And that is what we have said. And then ukiomba Mungu, mwambie akupe shilingi ya kike. Shilingi ya nini? Ya kike. Munaielewa? A female shilling. A female shilling. Akupe shilingi ya kike. Because ladies are people who are productive. Ladies are people who bring up generations. They also nurture. So ukipata hiyo shilingi ya kike, itasama shilingi mengi.